Profile of this suspect.
What's really fascinating about this case is the profile that the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit came up with was very similar to the suspect who was arrested here today. They suspected it was somebody who had a good job, who was married or had a girlfriend, who had resources, and he was doing this out of pleasure. And really, when you look at a serial killer, it's usually somebody who is who's trying to lead a double life, who has this life for the world to see: married, wife, kids, suburban family.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Thank you for watching us tonight. I'm Tom Overley. Iowa Republican Governor Kim Reynolds signed a 6-week abortion ban into law today. She signed the legislation at the Family Leadership Summit in Des Moines. That bill was passed earlier this week and bans abortions as soon as fetal cardiac activity can be detected, which is around 6 weeks of pregnancy. That's before most women know that they could be pregnant. The bill does provide exceptions for miscarriages when the life of the pregnant woman is threatened and fetal abnormalities that would result in the baby's death. It also includes exceptions for pregnancies resulting from rape and incest. However, the rape must have been reported within 45 days. The incest must have been reported within 140 days. While the law immediately went into effect, it could be short-lived. A group of abortion providers in Iowa have filed suit to strike it down. Well, the first contest in the Republican presidential primary is just 6 months from tomorrow. Many of the candidates were campaigning in Iowa today. NBC's Dasha Burns reports.
6 months from the first in the nation Iowa caucuses, Republican presidential candidates today making their pitch to evangelical voters. Candidate after candidate sitting down with former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson, except for the frontrunner. USA! USA! Former President Donald Trump skipping the event amid a feud with Iowa's popular governor Kim Reynolds, who says she's staying neutral in the race.
I hate to say it, without me, you know she was not going to win. You know that, right?
Trump's attack on Reynolds not landing well in the Hawkeye state.
How worried should Donald Trump be about Iowa?
I think he should be very concerned.
Evangelical leader Bob Vanderplaats hosted today's summit. He's not yet endorsed, but is known for backing winners in Iowa, from Huckabee to Santorum to Cruz. And while they didn't become the party nominee, Vanderplaats says this time Iowa is essential.
If one of these other candidates prove that they are the alternative to Trump and they're capturing the imagination and the inspiration of Iowans and Americans, and they beat Trump here, I think now you change the narrative.
It's why Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is doing all he can to assure nervous donors in a confidential memo obtained by NBC News, laying out his path forward, including a strong commitment to early states. At a nondescript office park in West Des Moines, paid DeSantis canvassers from around the country are put through 8 days of training.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi.
Part of a $100 million effort from a pro-DeSantis super PAC.
How did the training here compare to what you've had before?
Oh my gosh, this is on a different level for the training.
Meanwhile, Governor Reynolds signed the state's new 6-week abortion ban to much fanfare here, putting the issue front and center in the Republican race. Tom?
All right, well, this afternoon, in other news, a fire destroys a shed in Plainview. Plainview Fire and Rescue got the call shortly before 2 this afternoon. The shed stood between 2 mobile homes. Both were damaged in the blaze. Plainview police were first on the scene, and the fire and rescue team actually had to call the Elgin Fire Department for backup. There was not any injuries, and we don't know the cause of the fire or the costs of the damages. We do know that the shed is, as you can see, a complete loss. Farmers in Altura woke up this morning to find most of their crops destroyed after a brief overnight hailstorm. That hail was about 2 to 3 inches in size. The storm lasted about 15 minutes, but the impact, as you can see, devastating. The hail damaged crops, buildings, vehicles. Just to take a look at the chunks of glass missing from the roof of this greenhouse. Farmers are now left scrambling to find feed for their cows. They're left questioning if insurance will even begin to cover the damages, since most farmers did not think hail insurance would be necessary this season.
I mean, it was 6th generation dairy farm, but in 3 generations, we've never seen anything this bad to this level. It's normally spotty, it's minor, it's pea-size hail at best. But we've never lost a catastrophic loss before like this, where the 100% of the crop is useless.
And as of right now, no injuries have been reported. Let's head out to the weather patio now and talk with Nick Jansen about this. And that size of hail is pretty significant for middle of July.
Yeah, we had those showers and thunderstorms that rolled through last night, Mississippi River Valley. A lot of them, they were warned by the National Weather Service for golf ball size hail, and we had some reports of close to tennis ball size hail, so two and a half inch in diameter here is what we're looking at, and you can just see the size of a quarter there, and then that hailstone from April, and she had quite a bit of damage there in Lewiston, so it was right through Winona County. We had a cell that went through Wabasha, was warned for about quarter-sized hail, strengthened, it pulsated a little bit, strengthened real quick, and had a pretty good hail core through about most of Winona and Houston counties. Today we haven't had any severe weather. Now, we've had some showers and thunderstorms in some spots, but nothing severe. 83 for the high today in Rochester, 86 in Winona, 90 today in Red Wing. We take a look outside, current temperature at 70. Wind out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour, and we have some mainly clear skies now in Rochester as the cloud cover continues to move down to the southeast. And we have some showers and thunderstorms right along Highway 18, Cerro Gordo, into Worth, Hancock, and Floyd counties at this point in time. We look towards next, at least this upcoming weekend, so tomorrow. Our next alert is that air quality alert. That'll be in effect until 12 p.m. on Sunday. So looking at unhealthy conditions for sensitive groups. I think we could even get in the red category, meaning unhealthy for everyone coming up through the day on Saturday. So we'll track out the smoke and then maybe a rain chance in the forecast for Saturday. That's all coming up in your first alert forecast. Tom.
All right, Nick, thank you. UPS is taking preemptive action ahead of a possible strike by thousands of its unionized drivers. The delivery company says it's training non-union employees to take care of deliveries if its drivers walk off the job when their contract expires at the end of this month. In a statement, the company insists the move is a temporary solution, not an effort to walk away from negotiations or permanently squeeze out union drivers. Talks between UPS and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters broke down last week. The UPS Teamsters make up about half of the company's workforce. The drivers are demanding better benefits and working conditions. Well, here at home, the Olmsted County Passport Office is also experiencing some delays. Folks looking to travel can expect to wait at least 10 to 13 weeks now to get a routine passport. Expedited passports have about a 7 to 9 week wait. That timeline is the time it takes for the state office to get the paperwork, not the county office, so it could take an additional week or more on top of the expected wait time. The Olmsted County office has seen an influx in passport renewals and applications since the beginning of the year, and it has not slowed down.
We had over 700 passport requests in the month of January, which we haven't had that high since 2020, in January of 2020. On average, we do between, right around the 500 each month in passport processing.
A lot of people traveling. Passports experts recommend to apply as far in advance as possible, even 20 weeks before you are scheduled to travel. At Olmsted County Passport Office, employees strongly encourage folks to sign up for a time slot to come in for passport processing. We do have a link to the sign-up site on the web version of this story on KTTC.com. Well, all week we have been celebrating KTTC's 70th anniversary, and to commemorate all the stories we've covered and the work we've done the past 7 decades, we've set up an exhibit at History Center of Olmsted County. It officially opens tomorrow. Here's a sneak peek of what's in store.
KTTC and the History Center hope to bring a very interactive exhibit to show the history of KTTC, which also is the history of the Rochester area, the stories that we've told over the last 70 years.
To get this exhibit to fill out really nicely, we had to roll up our sleeves and go up into the attic and actually dig through some of the history that we have here at KTTC. It was boxes upon boxes upon boxes of just old cool stuff that we got to dig through and just kind of reminisce ourselves about growing up in Rochester area. If you've been in Rochester for any amount of years, this is going to be a blast from the past for you, just walking through and going, oh, I remember that anchor. I remember when that happened. It's been a real journey for me. It's going to be a trip for a lot of the folks that grew up in the Rochester area.
We are in the business of video, so you can sit and watch old stories and the specials that we have put together highlighting KTTC's history. The telethon is a big part of KTTC's history, and so we celebrate the success, the people who made that a success here. This is the station's way of saying thank you to the greater Rochester area for trusting us with their news and weather, with the stories they had to tell, with the information that we provide. And we hope they know they are as part of this history as much as all the people who have come through and worked for KTTC.
And that exhibit will be at the History Center until next year's Eagles Cancer Telethon in January. They're also celebrating 70 years as well. We'll be switching out pieces in the exhibit ever so often, so make sure to stop by a couple of times to check it out. It's actually a lot of fun. Meantime, today was the grand reopening of the Empowered Treatment Center. It's the only private-owned dual diagnosis treatment facility in Rochester. This means that the center offers both help for mental health and addiction treatment. We were at the grand opening. As you can see, there was music, food, and a facility tour, as well as a prize giveaway. The owners of the Empower say that they want to change the questions revolving around addiction treatment and form new connections in the community.
That my husband says is it's not what's wrong with you, it's what happened to you in life. And when you come through that first door at Empower Treatment Center, you're going to be part of the family at that point. You don't just get one counselor, you get the whole team of us. We have care coordinators on staff, peer recovery specialists, you get a whole team.
Empower is located at 602 11th Avenue Northwest in Rochester. It's open Monday through Friday. Emerald ash borer has destroyed so many trees in Minnesota, but the state DNR is now trying to do something about it. How they're slowing the spread, at least trying, up next.
Air quality issues are in the forecast for both Saturday and Sunday. We'll track that out and look ahead towards maybe a rain chance. We already see some smoke and some haze from our photographer Micah Hagan, and we'll see that again tomorrow and maybe a chance for rain. Your forecast coming up right after this.
Tonight.
Welcome back. Emerald ash borer has become a common problem for communities all across the state, but recent efforts from the Minnesota DNR have aimed now to cut down on the ash borer's impact. KTTC's Quinn Gorham explains how 35 communities recently got tools from the DNR to slow the spread of the EAB.
First detected right here in St. Paul in 2009, the emerald ash borer has now spread across the state of Minnesota, impacting various communities statewide. But grant programs like one from the Minnesota DNR have made it easier to control the spread of the non-native insect. The grant program provides various communities with tools and resources to manage the EAB in a few ways. That could mean drafting management plans, creating an inventory of ash trees, removal of impacted wood, or even diversifying the species present in an area. The emerald ash borer is a non-native species, and the local ash tree population has no natural resistance to the insect. Without management efforts, the bug can spread much faster to places across the state. According to the DNR, ash trees make up 40 to 60% of the tree population in some Minnesota communities. Left unchecked, the EAB could wipe those trees out entirely. Management can carry a steep price, especially in those areas, which is why Emma Schultz with the DNR says the grant program is so important.
In some instances, they are not able to immediately stump grind those trees that they remove, and they may not be able to replant without additional funding. And so funding like this is really critical to meet those communities where they're at and to help them along their path of community forest management.
Some communities have also received federal grants over the years to help control EAB populations. Unfortunately, experts say that eventually every ash tree in the state of Minnesota will be impacted by the emerald ash borer, but mitigation efforts like the one from the Minnesota DNR can help slow that process by years, even decades. Reporting in St. Paul, I'm Quinn Gorham.
Here's your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jensen.
We had temperatures today warm into the mid 80s for most of us, even the low 90s in a couple spots here. Red Wing at 90 degrees for the high today. Rochester, we have yet to make it to 90 degrees here this calendar year, and today no different. We were in the lower 80s at 83 degrees for that high temperature today. 86 in Winona, 87 in La Crosse, and then notice the temperature difference there. So 90s in Red Wing, 79 in Mason City. Lewis Nettle live camera outside tonight. We're at 70. Wind out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. Dew points upper 60s, so we're 70 over 68. We might be able to see some patchy fog, maybe some valley fog in some spots here tonight. And then those winds that might be able to mix up the atmosphere enough to keep some foggy conditions out. 73 currently in Red Wing, or I should say Winona. Red Wing's at 64. So we do have some mid 60s, some low 70s, 63 currently in Forest City. That's where we've had some showers at through about to Winnebago County, Hancock County into Mason City here. So again, some rainfall taking place in northern Iowa. That's it. It's the only cells that we have currently. That batch of rainfall near Highway 18. Clear skies will work in here through the overnight hours and into tomorrow. So some sunshine, hazy sunshine on the way. We see the return of, again, it's been a couple weeks, so at least we've had a break from the smoke and the haze for the past 2-3 weeks here. Air quality alerts in effect for all of southeast Minnesota, really the entire state of Minnesota and Wisconsin under those air quality alerts. That'll be in effect until 12 p.m. on Sunday. And I think most of us will be in that unhealthy for sensitive group. So if you're looking color coordinating, right, that'd be the orange levels there for our air quality index. We look, watch what happens. So the brighter the orange, theoretically, the thicker the surface smoke that we would see with this model run here. Notice by tomorrow morning, we're in the darker orange. So, and then pretty bright orange through the afternoon, right along that frontal boundary. So I do think some thick smoke and haze in some spots, so take note of that if you are in that sensitive group. We'll drown out the smoke a little bit in the morning on Sunday, and then it'll quickly get a little thicker throughout the afternoon and evening on Sunday. That's why we have those air quality alerts in effect until at least noon. We'll see if that's extended or not coming up by Sunday. So our forecast here will be right in that orange, so unhealthy for sensitive groups probably Saturday and Sunday. And I would not be shocked on Saturday if we reach the red here, unhealthy for all groups of people coming up on Saturday at some point in time in the afternoon. There might be a chance for a couple stray showers on Saturday too. Not in the morning, but into the afternoon. We'll pause this at 3 o'clock right during daytime heating. Kind of enough instability in the atmosphere, enough daytime heating that we could spark a couple stray showers and thunderstorms. Most of us don't count on the rainfall tomorrow. Just stray chances tomorrow. Sunday rolls around. We'll see some sunshine, high temperatures into the lower 80s and some upper 70s. Just that stray chance on Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're dry. Isolated chance on Wednesday. Rainfall amounts, notice this is why I say don't count on the rain tomorrow, because look at our rainfall amounts. We're in the light green here. That would be less than 0.2 of an inch of rain over the next 5 days. That does not help the latest drought monitor that came out on Thursday. We're still in a severe drought in Olmsted County at RST since June 1st. We have only accumulated 1.79 inches of rain. That means we have a deficit closing in on 5.5 inches of rain since June 1st. Temperatures tonight, 60 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, some low 80s, a couple stray storms with some hazy skies on the way for Saturday. 7-day forecast, 80 for the high Sunday with some sunshine next week. High temperatures kind of mild Monday, Tuesday, and then we're back to the low 80s by Wednesday. Tom.
Well, if you've got some student debt relief or debt, the president has some possible relief for you. We'll have details on that in just a moment. The Biden administration has announced $39 billion now in student debt relief. The administration announced 804,000 borrowers will have their student debt wiped away in the coming weeks. It's due to administrative fixes that more accurately count qualified monthly payments. There are currently several different kinds of income-driven repayment plans for borrowers with federal student loans. The plans base payments on a borrower's income and family size, regardless of their total outstanding debt. After getting a set forgiveness threshold of 20 or 25 years, a borrower's remaining balance is then wiped away.
This announcement today is a culmination of work that the department has been doing for a long time to fix those errors in the system from years past, but this work will not stop today. The department will continue to provide relief on an ongoing basis.
Well, later this summer, the Department of Education will open a new income-based repayment plan that will wipe out debt after 10 years of payments. Meantime, the EPA is putting $20 billion toward clean energy grant competitions. Organizations and state and local governments can team up to apply for the grants. According to the White House, the money could go toward projects like solar panels or other clean energy projects. Biden's National Climate Advisor says the money will target local projects.
This is really focused on those smaller projects, the community scale solar, the charging infrastructure at a community center in your neighborhood. So this will help revitalize neighborhoods across the country, help us cut our emissions, and help us tackle the climate crisis.
Well, he says communities could start seeing money and impacts within the next year.
Well, next in sports, let's get this second half underway. The highlights as the Twins face off with the Oakland A's in Oakland. Plus, motocross is back for its annual pit stop in Millville. We'll hear from a pair of local racers hoping to defeat Mount Martin after the break.
KTTC Sports from the Lucina Siding and Windows Sports Wall.
What's going on, friends? I'm Julian Mitchell. Tonight on the Sports Wall, the Twins are back in action to start the second half of this MLB season. Plus, the Honkers look to end a 3-game losing skid. But first, we're going to hear from 2 local motocross racers that will be competing in the 450 class of the Spring Creek National in Millville. We'll start with Gavin Tilford of Pine Island. He's got 1 career AMA Pro Motocross 125 All-Star start. He finished 23rd in the Ironman in 2019. Now, Tilford will have an advantage on a course known for its hills, something the other tracks don't typically feature. In addition to course familiarity, Tilford gets to escape a hotel, staying with his family nearby.
It feels good. Looking forward to Friday night. Normally like staying in a hotel or camp or something. Get to sleep in your own bed. Kind of be nice to wake up 30 minutes away from the track only. So good to be able to sleep at home, have a nice breakfast, and had a lot of laps on this track as an amateur. So looking forward to be back.
Good to know what Mount Martin is going to hold. The other local racer here is Henry Miller of Rochester. Now in his 7th year as a pro, he returns home with a pair of 450 class top 10 finishes in his Pro Motocross Championship. Last year's Spring Creek National, he took 21st. And just like Tilford, he describes why it means so much to be racing so close to home.
It's awesome, you know, it's always good energy, good atmosphere coming back, seeing friends, family. Keeps your mind off things, keeps your mind off the racing, and kind of like, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, you know. We go to all these places and all you think about is going racing and what you're going to do on the track and all that, and I come home and it's kind of like a breath of fresh air where it's a little bit different than our normal weekend, so it's awesome.
Those races start tomorrow. Of the highlights right here on KTTC. Let's go to the MLB next. Get this second half started. Twins taking on the Athletics in Oakland. First AB, first pitch of the game, folks. This is Carlos Correa. Lacing one to right field. How about a double? Get his second half started. Twins really need to see him get going here. Correa would score off a sac fly later, so it's 1-0 here when Kyle Farmer steps up. We'll take this on a ride to center field. Donovan Solano will come in on this RBI triple. The Twins take a 2-0 lead here early. Last check, this game's tied 3-3 in the 5th inning. The Mayo Field will go next here. Honkers taking on the Mud Puppies. Rochester trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Honkers got off on the right foot in this one. This is Kyle Fossum lacing this to center field. It's going to bring in a run as Rochester will strike first, 1-0. 6th inning, same score, Lincoln Berry. Just a great name. It's a blooper down the first base line. Fielder comes in, can't snag it on the dive, so one will score to knot this game up at 1. Next batter, Kyle Law, taking a rip to left field. It goes off the wall out there. 2 runs come on home. Hawkers go down 3-1. 7th inning here, 4-1 the score. Petey Kraska says bye-bye baseball. A little Apo Taco. It'll cut the lead in half. 4-2 ball game. At Homer, plus a 6-run 8th inning, sparked the Honkers. The Flock win 8-5. Next up is a game with Eau Claire to finish out the home stand. From Mayo Field to Wimbledon we go, gentlemen's semifinals. Novak Djokovic taking on Jannik Sinner for a spot in the finals. First set, Joker just playing some games. It's a beautiful forehand, puts Sinner on the move, then Djokovic just taps that over. He's up 4-1 here. So in the set, Djokovic, that's not going to be returned. 11 aces for him in the match. He takes set 1, 6-3. Second set, just more the same. Djokovic on his P's and Q's, making Sinner cover a lot of ground. Sinner's got some tricks of his own, though. This rally you're going to see here at the net. And this is, look at this. This is just beautiful here at this net. It's going to finish this off with a nice backhand winner. Sinner takes the set, ties the set, at 2. Djokovic, though, much like Thanos, is inevitable. Another ace here to take set 2, 6-4. Djokovic would take the match 6-3, 6-4, 7-6 to reach his 9th Wimbledon final, the first player in history to reach 35 Grand Slam singles finals. Djokovic will play Carlos Alcaraz on Sunday. Lastly, to something incredibly cool. WNBA All-Star Weekend kicking off with the three-point contest. We'll skip ahead here to the final round. New York Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu needs 11 to avoid elimination here. She comes out hotter than a fresh pan of cookies. Drains everything on this first rack, draining it all. We'll skip ahead here to the last rack at 31 now. One more than Allie Quigley's 30-point record last year. Also ties the NBA record. Guess what the former Oregon Duck star does here? She does not miss a single shot. Andre 3000 once asked the question, what's cooler than being cool? I think the answer might be Sabrina Ionescu. 37, that sets a new WNBA and NBA record for threes made in this competition. Just incredible. All-Star games tomorrow in the W. Visa Collier is repping the Lynx. That'll do it from the Sports Wall tonight. We'll be back after this.
KTTC Sports brought to you by Hill.
Rhode Island is making a difference with an inspiring initiative to help other kids. 9-year-old Theo Turson's lemonade stand raised $2,000 for Hasbro Children's Hospital. This is the 3rd year in a row he has used the stand and lemonade to raise money for the hospital. He says the first 2 years they got about $100. Durson himself got a treatment at Hasbro Children's Hospital for ADHD and Tourette's. Durson says he wants people to get better and to feel better, like he does as well. A lot of kids making some good money on those lemonade stands.
Sure thing.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight at 10 o'clock. Have a great weekend.